Hey everyone. So this is my second attempt actually at making this video. I am clearly a noob, and 4 minutes into recording this, my phone died because I did not check the battery and assumed it had charged overnight. So I I'm just uploading this to be true to the timeline, right? I'm just gonna keep providing weekly updates. But in reality, I did not train at all this week. Multiple reasons. One, just being busy and me not prioritizing my health or consistency towards the training. I manage a 32-acre animal and produce farm. There's a lot going on. Obviously, it's that time of year, as well as my cannabis company is now like officially operational. This past week was getting the last things on site and beginning the work. So in reality, that ate up a ton of my time, and among other things, like, it was actually a struggle to eat the past week and stay consistent, eat good things, this and that. I had to tailor my diet to softer foods and whatnot because I have been dealing with a dental issue. It's actually a dual dental issue. It's a little annoying. I'm waiting tomorrow. Actually, I'm supposed to have a permanent crown finally put on, a molar here, so that I can move on with my life with that side. And meanwhile, I had an infection on this tooth. I have a root canal scheduled in like 5 days, so it made it exceptionally difficult to eat properly, and really uncomfortable, and really just take a lot longer. So, I had to get creative with the things I was eating. So, considering I had this infection I was trying to deal with, wasn't really even able to eat kind of as consistently and as much as I'd like. Combined with the fact that my mom is dealing with multiple health issues. She just had a major back surgery, actually fusing her pelvis all the way up to like C3. So she's about 6 months into that recovery time, and she's kind of a dummy and just works way too much, and does things she shouldn't, and doesn't necessarily prioritize her recovery. So she's dealing kind of with some of the after effects. And then this past Sunday, funny enough, about a week ago, I think it was when I recorded my first video, she was driving in her 2022 Dodge Ram, lost control, computer malfunction, caused her to sideswipe into a stone wall. This is up in southern New Hampshire, and she flipped. She flipped her truck while dealing with major, physical recovery issues. So she's kind of a mess. Been trying to tend to that. I'm probably moving in 2 months actually to my farm and actually gonna live on site. So there's just 1,000 different things occurring. I could go on and on and on and rant, but that's not really what this video is supposed to be about. I guess the lesson, if we're gonna take a lesson from it, is just that's life, And these things happen, and it will kind of stand in your way. Realistically, my issue is just I was just starting my journey again, and starting my fitness training, and when it rains it pours, and I have like 30 different things hit me. And when you haven't gotten into the rhythm of making it a daily habit, and it's something that you feel like you really need to complete your day, it's just not going to happen. So my goal, was to just be intelligent, focus on my health in terms of dental, family, business, take care of these things that were absolute priorities. And there was no putting these things off. They were things that needed to be taken care of in the moment. But having said that, yeah, no training whatsoever. So I can't really sit here and go, oh, look at it. Like, I maybe feel like I got a little bigger in updates. To be quite honest, I feel like I look different actually from the video from a week ago. I probably look maybe a little fuller, a little wider. My arms probably look a little fuller. And it's not as though we're not doing work, trust me. It's hard work on the farm, and that's helped with the muscle conditioning, keeping me where I'm at, and retaining a lot of the muscle memory that I built up from years and years of training. Again, like, I played sports from the ages of like 5 to 14, and then took like a, or 13, took like a 2 year hiatus, was a huge gamer, played Halo. That's my absolute shit. Halo 3 was my life for about 2.5 years. And that's a whole other thing I could get into. But, yeah, like having said that, when I hit 15 or so, that's when I really started to actually weight train, and I got into MMA. And really, I actually had an old knee injury, and it was affecting my day-to-day life, and I decided to do something about it. And that's when I went to like the New Bedford, Massachusetts YMCA, started lifting some weights, went to Workout World, and I had a very crazy physical transformation when I started training. It was the end of my sophomore high school year. I just had graduated, so that summer I began working out. Um, at the time, I was taking a pre-workout, and now it's banned. If anyone remembers Jacked or Jack 3D, the little white container, tiny little scoop, and that was a pre-workout. That stuff got banned for having like an ingredient that was like biochemically similar to like methamphetamine or some crazy shit. So moral of the story is it worked, I'll tell you that. But I was taking a little of that, just some normal protein, and I hit my growth spurt simultaneously, my major growth spurt. And end of sophomore year to the beginning of junior year, my birthday's in October, right? So about like a month into school, I went from 5 foot flat to about 5'7". Sorry, my cats. To 5'7", and went from about 100 pounds to about 140, and my strength shot up. Sorry, I'm just getting distracted from the cats. I keep hearing things. I was wondering where they are. I have a headphone in, so it's kind of like it's almost like being underwater. You hear noise, you just kind of can't even tell where it's coming from. But yeah, my strength shot up. I remember I think my first time I ever bench pressed, I did like 95 pounds for like 4 reps or 6 reps. So it wasn't bad. I was actually doing about my body weight for like, 4 to 6 reps, which is pretty decent. And that's just definitely the athleticism with like basketball, football, baseball, cross country. I did lifeguard training, and I was, a sprinter and a hurdler, in track as well. So with all those different sports, it really kind of probably helped translate some just basic pound for pound strength over. But I went from, benching 95 pounds, like say 4 to 6 reps, to like June 1st, basically like right now, to October 13th, my birthday. I remember it was the day after my birthday, October 14th, and it was on one of the little flip red Altel cell phones. And my buddy, who's actually my CFO of my cannabis company now, he recorded me benching 245 for 3 reps. And I had just turned 16, I believe. So I was like 15 in the summer going to hit 16. Yeah. So having said that, I had crazy responses to like strength and putting on muscle and everything. And you have to imagine, like right here, I mean, I ate some brownies and cookies last night. I ate a bunch of Puerto Rican, like Portuguese food, cassoulet, blah, blah, blah. I had pizza 4 or 5 times over the course of this last week, not training. So it's like, I know it's calories in, calories out, regardless, but I'm more so putting it out there. I guess it shows the importance of like general physical activity combined with, not overeating. And as long as you're getting in generally what protein you kind of should be getting, and you're maintaining your activity levels to kind of match your caloric intake, you're not going to get fat. People see me and they're like, oh my God, like, are you on a diet? Do you work out? What do you do? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, I haven't worked out in 4 years and I haven't done anything. So I'll translate it over actually, which is kind of cool. I was not expecting it, but I got a comment on the last video by a gentleman, at least I believe it was, who wrote several paragraphs actually, like really took the time to watch my video apparently and give some input on what he believed, he doesn't know me, right? So he was just doing his best to like provide some advice based upon what potential situation I'm in. And I'll just really try to quickly address it. I do not have notes in front of me. I do not have everything, I'm not going to reread it right now. And I read it a few days ago. But for the most part, I'll at least just address some of the major points. And it's just, like, off the bat, he was saying, like, if there's some form of body dysmorphia, this, or that, you're saying, hey, you're already, like, in shape. It's not as though you, like, need to put on size, blah, 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 blah. And, like, I totally understood. And I really like to believe it's not body dysmorphia. I mean, I like being healthy. I like being strong. I did calisthenics for many years, so be able to perform levers and planches and human flags and all these things. It was really, it felt amazing to be able to actually perform those movements, because I feel as like personally, I got so much more satisfaction out of showing people those things than just lifting a heavy weight, right? Lifting as heavy as possible, like, I mean, it's pretty cool, I guess, but it wasn't what I went for, and I'm 5'7", and I naturally, when I'm in good shape, I just sit at about 145, 155 pounds. Really, 150 is my average. I sit at 150. For me to be at 135, and I actually hit 130 at a point, and it made me really not feel great, this is not, like, people will be like, oh, you're fine. I'm not. I'm actually underweight. I mean, even at 150 pounds, 145 pounds, I'm pretty sure that's just, you're in the zone of average. So it's not as though I'm going overweight. Going up to 160, 170 pounds is starting to push that precipice, but I don't believe that if I'm putting on the weight in an unhealthy fashion, that is as much to be worried about. I'm not trying to hyper put on weight, etc., etc. Really, what I'm trying to go for is I'm aiming for like a 300 to 500 calorie surplus. 500 calorie surplus per day in a week puts on a pound of weight. Obviously, you need the stimulation and protein and all that to affect or effectuate muscle growth. So that's why I'm not trying to, I was like, I wanted to train, but I didn't want to push my body too hard because of the infection. Plus, I wasn't in like complete control of being able to take in what I wanted to take in this week. So I just didn't actually aim for calorie surplus. It really was just like, I just need to eat and feel satisfied. And but yeah, I just wanted to kind of address that. It's not really body dysmorphia. It's not necessarily like I'm gonna force myself, and it's like I'll feel like a failure, some kind of whatever. It's just a general goal. I want to get back up to my normal standard healthy weight. And in fact, just by kind of being better about eating as much as I should, with no training whatsoever, in the past like month and a half, like since before I even started the first video, I put back on about 5 to 7 pounds. That's my deaf cat, by the way. Every time you hear that yell, he doesn't meow. He yells like that, just so you understand. And that's quiet. That's super quiet. He can scream. But the point is, really that's the goal. And I've also never tried to calorie count, macro track, and put on weight. So realistically, it's more of like an experiment for my body. I've put my body into like marathon shape, swimming shape, fighting shape. I was a basketball and baseball athlete, just sort of like very lean and whatever. I've been into like working out with weights and got really jacked. Like I could show some pictures when I was like 17, 16 years old, like when I started that training. And I could show pictures of me at like 15, end of sophomore year, skinny, small as a rail. And then 4 months later, me absolutely massive. So when you talked about newbie gains, the comment the gentleman made, 1,000%. I'm going to be going on 32 years old. And I understand that there's going to be some kind of plateau and drop off, an equilibrium drop off, that when my body starts hitting that point. And that's fine, but I want to see where that's at. And especially at my age, because I haven't trained in 4 years, from the age of 27 to the age of 32, a lot can change physiologically. So I've always had amazing results. I'm, for the sake of being healthy, getting back in shape, all that, I'm doing it for that reason. The side experiment to it is really like, I'm gonna do the training workout regardless. I'm just trying to put in a little bit more effort than ever to, in a sense, scientifically track my progress. Like, actually track my progress and see what exactly I'm gonna be capable of. So at the end of the day, I'll be responsible with it. I'm not going to force anything. And yeah, it's exciting stuff. Obviously, good definition, blah, 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 blah. It's, I'm fine, but I know what I'm capable of. And this is with me not working out. So it's not like I'm going to be going insane. I'm just going to do what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to do cardio. I'm going to lift weights. And just balance it with a healthy lifestyle. So I'll, sorry for getting so deep in thought. I'll provide more updates when I can. See, this is the needy boy. So I will let you guys all get back to your life. I'll try not to make this video much longer than it really needs to be. But yeah, for anybody else that's out there trying to do their thing, it's just about starting and caring about yourself. And like, it's like with anything, quitting, getting off drugs, taking care of deaf cats that scream during videos that you're trying to record, whatever it is, your dream or your passion with work and what you're trying to achieve, you're only going to do it if you want to. That's the end of it right there. That's in drug addiction. People can't force the person to get better, right? They have to want it. You can't force someone to become successful. You have to want it, and because in order to obtain the skills and have the consistent drive day to day, I mean, that's something that has to be in here, and you have to want it. So anyway, having said that, I wish all of you the best with your journeys in life, whatever that is, fitness or otherwise. I'll most certainly be at least going to the gym a couple times this week. I'll at least do something to permit, another video like this. So there's actually some form of progress that I can, not even progress to show. More so, just provide an update and be able to be proud and say, yep, I'm staying on track and I'm training. And even now, it's still somewhat, even if I'm training every week, it's going to be inconsistent. It's not as though I have everything locked down like day to day and regiment to regiment. And I'm somewhat making my schedule week to week based upon, the other things going on in my life. It's, I'm like a servant to the farm, and it kind of stinks in some ways, but at the same time, it does provide me the flexibility by being the boss. So, double-edged sword, pros and cons everywhere you look, no matter what you do in life. So having said that, I'll sign off. Hope you're all doing okay. I'll do one last little progress flex. I mean, I'm so lean right now, but I'm also not as cut and stuff as I used to be. So, again, perfectly fine with where I'm at. Like, physically, I don't really care. In the regards of, like, what other people think. In reality, I'm naturally gifted with a good physique, so it's like, for me to be self-conscious and, like, worried and anxious about that kind of thing, that would just be literally delusional. Like, it's not like a narcissistic, egotistical thing. It's just like, I have to at least respect the fact that, yeah, I'm physically in good shape, and I shouldn't be seeing myself with 27 flaws in reality. I have to appreciate what I have for what I have, especially considering 4 years of no freaking training. I should be very grateful about the muscle memory. So anyway, hope you all have a great rest of your week. Take care. Stay focused, stay determined, all that stuff, all that inspirational crap that people put out there. And feel free to comment. You can roast me, this or that, talk about my fucking slightly offset chest, whatever the hell's going on with me. Ask about the tattoos, whatever. Anything I ever put on my body too always has meaning. I'm like 7 tattoos behind from where I'm supposed to be, like in terms of the things I know I'm going to be getting. So maybe I'd love to implement things like that into these videos in the future. I can just be like, oh, share things about like what's going on in my life, things like little details like that, my hobbies and interests, which are like literally 400 things. So I can talk forever. I stay on top of geopolitical events all the time. Went to college for that for 3 years, dropped out to pursue cannabis growing. Never took a loan, worked the whole time, etc., etc., etc. Love video games, love shows, love deep philosophical talks. I absolutely love to analyze and break down a variety of things. I'm an agriculturalist, regenerative soil science, have engineering background. I basically was the architect, engineer, general contractor, carpenter, tiler, roofer, insulator, drywaller, finish worker, painter, everything for my company. I pretty much had to build an entire cannabis facility on my own, with the help of like my small crew of 4 people, which none of them necessarily had construction experience. So that was a crazy 2-year journey that I could literally put into like 100 other videos, which that's also something we're growing on that end. That's social media for the companies Osprey Point Farms and Free Market MA, as in Massachusetts. Look those up on Instagram if you'd like. Those are the 2 business accounts that follow basically my adventures over at that farm. You can see everything we're up to and the freaking chaos that not even sometimes goes on, pretty much is always going on. So anyway, again, this is me letting the video get way too long. Do your thing, guys. Have a good weekend and talk soon.